Welcome to Love Yourself, the podcast where we break down the reasons why you aren't losing weight and help you discover confidence, self-worth, and resilience all along the way. Weight loss isn't a knowledge problem, it's a thinking problem, and I'm here to show you how to lose weight with your brain, not another diet plan. So as you listen, notice what resonates with you, and if something clicks or you want to go deeper, I would love for you to book a call with me right after the episode. Would you consider the relationship you have with yourself healthy or toxic? Well, if you're not sure, this episode is going to help you get so much clarity on the kind of relationship you have with yourself and how it's impacting your quality of health in your mind and in your body. My name is Dara Thomason, and this is episode 262. The most toxic relationship you have is with yourself. So welcome. Welcome to this episode. I'm really excited to dive into this because one of the best predictors of success is the way that you talk about yourself, the way you refer to yourself, and the way that all of that, and because of all of that, that's how you're going to get your results. So if you have these internal unhealthy thoughts, you're going to have outward unhealthy results. And so the more that we can do the inside work, the better we are at getting the outside work the outside results that we really want. So let's dive into what is a toxic relationship. So if we go online and we look at what the experts say, a toxic relationship is any dynamic between people that consistently undermines your mental, emotional, or physical well-being. Now, this episode, we're really focusing on your relationship with yourself. So remember we talked about being your inner narrator. So how is that inner narrative? If we were to take a transcript of everything that you say to yourself and we were able to put it through a filter, how much of it would be totally negative? It says here, undermining your mental, emotional, or physical well-being. So just take a guess right now of what that would look like. So to continue on with the definition, so a toxic relationship is any dynamic between people or with yourself that consistently undermines your mental, emotional, or physical well-being, characterized by insecurity, disrespect, and lack of support. It leaves you feeling drained, demeaned, or constantly walking on eggshells rather than feeling safe and valued. So I'm curious for you. When you think about that definition, how often do you feel safe, calm, and secure in your own body, in your own life? We all know people that as soon as I said walking on eggshells, you could probably think of a few people. Okay. So why is that? Why do you have that dynamic and why do you feel that lack of safety? So what are your thoughts about that person or it being in that situation? What doesn't feel good? Now, these are some core warning signs. Recognizing a toxic dynamic can be difficult as the damage often happens slowly over time. Key indicators include constant criticism, so frequent nitpicking or belittling that erodes your self-esteem, manipulation or gaslighting, tactics used to make you doubt your own memory, perception, or sanity. The third is unequal power dynamics. So one person constantly demands control, makes decisions for both, or ignores boundaries. So do you do that for yourself? Are you constantly saying yes to other people and ignoring what you really need? So I'm just curious of what comes to your mind when I share that. Isolation, pressuring you to cut ties with friends and family to keep you dependent on them. So even using the internet, being self-isolating on there, watching your shows, being all in those shows instead of when you catch yourself thinking about different characters in movies, are you spending more time familiarizing with them versus actual friendships with real people? Another one is the lack of accountability. This looks like blaming you for all problems and refusing to apologize. So how does that look like for you? Now, the next section I want to talk about is toxic versus abusive relationships. While both terms describe unhealthy connections, they differ. So a toxic relationship is often stem from unhealthy communication styles, selfishness, or incompatible needs. Both parties may contribute to the negativity. So your inner self-talk, the way that you talk to yourself is this idea of unhealthy communication styles. Okay? And then abusive relationship characterized by a severe, deliberate imbalance of power, often involving threats, intimidation, or physical harm. If you have ever experienced physical emotional abuse, help is available. So I'm curious as how often when you are talking to yourself, when you are solving a problem, or when you are trying to figure out a solution to something, how often do you speak to yourself in harsh, deliberate imbalance of power? So I'm just going to give a little simple example. Let's say you step on the scale and it's not the number you want it to be. What do you say to yourself? Do you beat yourself up? Are you rude? Are you demeaning? Are you unkind? What happens in that dynamic? Okay. So why are we talking about this? We're halfway done the summer love yourself love yourself this summer experience, where we've made a bucket list. So we've made a list of things that are fun to do, things that we look forward to, creating a life. We're building confidence. We don't need to we don't have to have lost the weight in order to feel good about ourselves. We don't have to have things perfect in order to feel proud. We're just doing things for fun. We're letting ourselves, if we love I have a friend who loves beach glass. It's one of her favorite things to do is to go on the beach and look for all this different beach glass. She collects things, and she just delights in all of that. And so she's creating a life that feels fun and exciting. She is allowing that. And that's what I'm encouraging this love yourself this summer experience to be, so that you're enjoying your life. You're reading the books that you've had on your shelf for a long time, or you're revisiting a book series that you really enjoy. You're being more creative. You're working through old quilt blocks. You're cleaning things. Doesn't that feel so amazing to clean things out and to give stuff away? Organizing closets. Oh my goodness, that feels amazing, right? So the more that you can be in that state of this is what I want, and when I do these things that fill my own bucket, that helps build my confidence. That helps me feel like I'm in charge of me, that I'm my own person, and I don't have to rely on other people saying things to me, compliments or any of that. So I want to just walk you through a few steps and questions to look at this concept of the most toxic relationship you have is with yourself. In life coaching, there is this term or this concept that I teach, and it's called emotional adulthood. And in this concept, it really debunks this myth that says you hurt my feelings, or Tommy hurt my feelings, or Susie hurt my feelings. It's actually impossible for someone to hurt your feelings, because someone could say to me, you're not a very good quilter. And the only way that I could be offended by that is if I believe them. Because I could say, that's your opinion. Like, I think I'm a really good quilter. And, you can have your opinion. Or if someone said, you're not very good at piecing quilting. And I'm like, you're right. I'm not a very good piecer, but give me any quilt. I can quilt that up like nobody's business, right? I can just decide what I want to think about what they say. So this is emotional adulthood. Now, if you believe that what other people can say affects you, then that's an emotional child. And one of the challenges as a little girl, and I don't know about you, but when my mom would say something like, "You kids are driving me crazy. You're ridiculous," or, she would be really upset, right? "You're making me so mad." It was actually really scary for me as a 6-year-old, 7-year-old, 9-year-old to think I have that kind of power. I'm just a kid and I can make an adult feel a certain way. It was wild to me. And I thought, wow, that's a lot of power. That's a lot of responsibility that my actions could completely influence an adult. Have you ever thought of that before? I had never. And so it wasn't until later when I learned, I thought, oh, no wonder I was such a people pleaser. No wonder I spent so much time making dinners and helping and doing all those things out of fear because I was so afraid that my mom would go to like the she gets admitted into the funny farm, right? Because she would say, you're making me crazy. And I actually had an aunt, a great aunt, who was in the mental institution, and we did go visit her. So I had physical, like when I was 7 and 8 years old, we went and visited my Aunt Ethel in the insane asylum in Panoka, Alberta. That's a crazy place. And it's kind of a crazy thing for a mom to take her 7 and 8-year-old to an insane asylum. It was kind of scary. So when I'm talking about this, so emotional adulthood is one of the greatest tools I teach my clients. Because when you realize that nobody has the power to make you feel anything, you got freedom. And so with this episode, when I say the most toxic relationship is with yourself, it's true. Because it's only your thoughts are the things that are going to change things for you. And so when I say how to be your own safe space, this idea of the summer bucket list, or you can do this all throughout the year, it's you filling up your own bucket that helps you feel good about yourself. Because think about the last time someone complimented you, right? So if someone said, "Oh, I really love like how talented you are. Oh, this dish was really delicious." Or you have a really good sense of fashion, or whatever that is. They compliment you. If you don't believe them, you're not. They can just it's like they're just saying words. So until you actually believe what people say, that's what impacts you. That's what makes that difference, okay? And so the more that you can do that work for yourself, the more that you can truly improve your relationship with yourself. I'm going to tell one more story and then I'll be done for today's podcast. I might have shared this before. I don't know, but it was such a game changer for me that I just, we talk about trauma. Trauma is when like you remember where you were. Like, do you remember where Princess Di was when you heard that she died, or the 9/11? So a mini trauma, that's you remembering like where you were. And we also have the opposite. We have these triumphs. I'm just calling them triumphs, where you have this huge epiphany or life-changing aha moments that once you understand this universal principle, you can't go back. Kind of like with me when I lost the 30 pounds, I was thrilled, and then I didn't worry about weight loss anymore, and that was like in May, and then by December of that same year of 2019, I'd lost another 20 pounds. I didn't even think I needed to. And there it goes. It just, my body has a certain set point and it likes being at that point. And so ever since then, I've fluctuated 5, 10, 15, no, sorry. I've fluctuated up and down 5 pounds, but pretty much my body really likes to be around 155. Cool. I didn't even know that. When I got married, I was 164. So let me tell this story. My son he got a bite and he needed to get a tetanus shot. And so we were at the hospital getting stitches, and the doctor said, "Oh, did he have his kindergarten vaccinations?" I thought about it. I was like, "I actually don't think he did." And this is my fifth child, okay? All my other kids had all their up to date everything, and we moved. I didn't really like our move. I didn't really like our house. It was really small. I liked Vancouver Island kind of, but like I really missed where I was living. I missed my life, and I was having a hard time. So I didn't actually get a shots. And so it was like 4 years later, 4 or 5 years later, and so they said, "Well, okay, well, let's you go to the clinic on Monday, and they can look it up, and you guys can deal with it then." So I think they gave me something in the meantime, but that was a Saturday, and then we went on the Monday. So I get to the clinic, and there's the public health nurses there, and one of them happens to be a wife of one of my husband's coworkers. And so we're talking, and we'd never met, but we were able to figure out, "Oh, okay, yeah, your husband and my husband." And so then she says, "So you don't think you got your son's vaccination in kindergarten?" I was like, "Yeah, I don't think I did." And she's like, "How many kids do you have?" I said, "Oh, yeah, I have 5." She was like, "Oh, okay, well, I'm gonna go." And she was kind of snooty, and I was just like, "Okay, whatever." I'm just with my son, and we're just hanging out there. And so she goes to the back office, and there's like a glass there, and so I can see her talking to somebody, and I'm just, with my son, we're hanging out, we're chatting, and, all of a sudden, I had this realization. They could be judging me. They could be saying, "Look at that woman. She has 5 kids, and she doesn't even know if she got her youngest kid vaccinated. Like, what's wrong with her?" And then I had this realization. If I'm not judging me, then it doesn't matter. They could be saying whatever they want. They could say my hair is purple. They could say my shirt is pretty. They could say my shirt is ugly. They could say um, anything about me. But if I don't believe it and if it doesn't matter to me, then it doesn't matter. I mean, I'm a Christian. So if someone says make fun of me for being a Christian, okay, their opinion is they can say that. Or if they say they have a problem with people with blue eyes, well, I have blue eyes. If they have a problem with that, I guess that's their problem. These are my eyes. I can't change them. And I don't want to. I don't care. Or people who say I only like short hair. Well, I like long hair. Do you know what I'm saying? So this is where I really want to encourage you to look at this idea of I'm responsible for my own emotions. And the only way that I can do that is by me taking responsibility for me. And I want to set myself up for success. So I'm going to learn, what does a toxic relationship look like with other people? What does a toxic relationship look like with myself? And what am I going to lay down the law of what's acceptable and what's not acceptable? I will never berate myself ever again for my weight. I will not berate myself for if I didn't achieve a goal. I'm going to evaluate it, but I'm never going to speak to myself harshly. It's not happening. And if I catch myself accidentally, I will apologize immediately. Just like with my husband, if I said something that he was offended or upset by and he misunderstood me, I will always say, "Please accept my apology." I will always ask for that because I respect him. I respect our relationship. And I want you to be able to do that for yourself. So if you want to start practicing what that looks like to improve your relationship with yourself, come and join me in the Love Yourself this summer experience. It is so wonderful. It's like a healing balm, right? It's so needed in our world today. to really fill our own bucket, our own joy, like creating those experiences for ourselves. Even something like we went on vacation once. We were staying at my uncle's, and he lives in this really small town. And my husband and I would go for these walks, and we would say things like, because we lived in a really small town once where the newspaper, I'm not even kidding you, was like, Aunt Lucy came to visit from Saskatoon, and she's been here for 3 days, and you wouldn't believe the stories they've been sharing. Like, it's hilarious. Like, such a small town, these little things. And so he would joke and say, "Oh, yeah, imagine, what's her name is looking, that lady is looking out her window thinking, who are those people walking up and down the street? Are they going to move? Where are they visiting?" And she'd like, secretly get in her car and follow us, like just having those kinds of fun, kind of whimsical, silly kind of conversations. All those things, they build this healthy relationship. And the more that you do that, the more you create joy from the inside out, and the less you're going to need food. So filling your own bucket is just so awesome. So I want you to think right now, what is one thing you could do today that would feel amazing? Would it be maybe calling your favorite cousin? Would it be opening one of your favorite books? Would it be just sitting outside and enjoying the sun? Would it be listening to a favorite song? Would it be like, do you love getting mail? So would it be like writing a few letters and mailing them? Like, what sounds fun? What sounds enriching? What sounds lovely? Maybe would it be to, read a favorite scripture? What is that? I have to tell you, it's actually your responsibility to make you happy because no one else can do it for you. Nobody knows you how you know you, and nobody can create those results for you. I am so happy to be spending this time making these podcasts for you. I absolutely love thinking about you on your walk, doing dishes, maybe driving in your car, whatever it is, and that we're having this connection. It just brings me so much joy. And I want to get to know you. I want to hear about your life. I want to hear about the things that bring you happiness. And I also want to hear what's causing you pain. One of my greatest honors is being a coach and helping women. And as I'm in becoming a therapist alongside, I'm going to have the two to work together. I'm learning so much more about how do I help the human condition? How do I help heal your heart? And I'm going to I say it very boldly, but you joining this love yourself this summer experience is so transformative because you're finally saying that you matter, and that the cleaner your relationship with your brain and your body is, the more that you can open up and understand and heal all of those parts of you, your life will just automatically get better. I promise you. All right. Well, it was so fun to spend this time with you, and I will see you next week where we're going to talk about some goals. So if you struggle with goals, you got to come and listen to that one. You're going to learn so much. As you're leaving this episode, I want you to take a moment and notice what stood out for you. What did you learn about yourself? What felt true? And where are you ready to start thinking differently? Remember, this work isn't about doing more. It's about understanding how your brain is working right now and learning how to shift it in a way that's always going to support you. And you don't have to do that alone. If you're ready to stop second guessing yourself, stop feeling stuck, and start creating real momentum in your life, I would love to help you. You can book a call with me and we'll look at what's really going on for you and what your next step can be. I'll talk to you. I can't wait to talk to you.